Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So, on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the budget myth for decks in Commander, because you don't need expensive cards to win. Let's jump into why. So, yes, Commander is a format that has impossibly priced staples. I mean, Rhystic Study is one of the most played cards in the format, and one of the most powerful cards of the format, of course, and also, on top of that, of course, a $60 card. It's an enchantment that costs 3 mana in blue, and it says, whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 1. And of course, if you've played Commander for a while, you've definitely seen this card, and you have seen it take over games. But number one, it doesn't have to, and number two, just because you don't have a Rhystic Study in your deck doesn't mean that you can't win. One of the great things about Commander is that it is a singleton format, and it is a 100-card deck format as well, meaning that there is a very low likelihood in an individual game that if a player has Rhystic Study in their deck, that they actually get it out. So yes, there are these impossibly priced quote-unquote staples that are like, oh, it's so much better than anything else. It's, yes, incredibly good, absolutely. That being said, it's not going to get out all the time, number one. Number two, there are other cards that are better in different situations, of course, and also, yeah, if you build your deck properly, you probably have ways to deal with this, and of course, also, there's a political aspect to a card like this, and others like it that are also powerful too, that can actually be a stopgap against the card. Let's first start off talk about situational cards, because there are definitely times when, like, 22-cent instead of $60 card, Factor Fiction, is actually better than Rhystic Study, and sometimes, I mean, if you draw it late game, and you're like, oh, I just need to get the right cards in my deck, okay, I got a Rhystic Study, will that help me versus Factor Fiction, which can actually help me right away, potentially? It's also instant speed, so it's a little bit more flexible. Instant for 4 mana, reveal the top 5 cards of your library, and an opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. One pile in your hand and the other into your graveyard. Again, I'm not saying just straight up that this card is better than Rhystic Study, and this deserves to be a game changer, and Rhystic Study doesn't. I am not saying that. Don't put words into my mouth like that. What I am saying is that situationally, yeah, there are going to be times when you're like, okay, I'd rather draw the Factor Fiction late game if I need it right then and there. Or like a Pull from Tomorrow. Again, instant speed for X blue, draw X cards and discard a card. An amazing mass draw spell that, again, late game, you might need to dig down into your deck. And though, yeah, okay, I play my Rhystic Study for just 3 mana, it's in play, it's going to draw me some cards, great. I might not need those, I might need those cards right away, though. I might need to get them right away, or I might be willing to, again, put more into this to draw more cards than I would have drawn from Rhystic Study with one trip around the table. So yeah, there are different situations where other draw spells are actually more effective than Rhystic Study. Yes, that being said, there's also situations where you or one of your opponents that is not the player that has Rhystic Study in play has something like a Nature's Claim. Very simple, very effective, instant for a single green mana. It's an amazing removal spell. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Its controller gains 4 life. Obviously, this or, any of the ones at 2 mana that are like, hey, yeah, destroy an artifact or enchantment or whatnot, and another extra kind of, benefit for them too. They're all going to be great, and obviously, if you're playing enough removal, chances are, well, you've got ways to deal with, say, a Rhystic Study. So again, they played a 3-mana card, you just paid 1 mana to get rid of it, essentially. And yeah, maybe pay the 1 extra mana so that they actually don't draw a card off of that, too. Or again, Austere Command. Again, when it comes to removal, ramp. When it comes to building your deck properly, you want to make sure the right amount of different things in your deck, obviously. Removal, wrath, all good. Austere Command, sorcery for 6 mana. Choose 2 to draw artifacts, enchantments, all creatures with small mana value, big mana value, whatever it is. Again, if you are running, again, a good combination of wraths and removal, and again, your opponents might be as well, you've got ways to actually deal with Rhystic Study or cards that are, again, are just seen as like, oh my gosh, such a good card. I need to actually go buy that card. You don't need to buy that card to win. There's plenty of ways to either, again, not replicate its effect, but utilize it better in different situations, or, again, just remove it. Make sure that that player doesn't have the benefit. Or, if you can't beat them, join them. Mythos of Iluna. Cards like this that can actually copy it. Again, that player just spent $60 on that card. You just spent 15 cents on this one. Sorcery for 4 mana, create a token that's copied, target permanent. On top of that, if you make a creature, you get to have it fight. That being said, with this case, obviously, you're like, oh, okay, you've got a Rhystic Study? Now I've got a Rhystic Study. All right, sure, we're basically on par with each other, able to essentially draw an absurd amount of cards each now. So, yeah, again, if you can't beat them, join them sometimes, and having a clone effect like this can be great. Or, and I kind of mentioned this on an episode the other day, Role Reversal, a card like this, which is not technically a theft card, but kind of a theft card, essentially. A sorcery for 3 mana, exchange control of 2 target permanents that share return and type. So you might be able to give them a pretty bad enchantment. Yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, you get my fertile ground or whatever, which is already attached to my permanent anyways. Cool, doesn't matter what it's controlling, or an aura. And then you say, you know what? Now I get heuristic study. Thank you. It is actually mine. So, yeah, again, maybe a theft card like this, which is technically like a swap card, but it's kind of more like a theft card. As long as your deck doesn't have an absurd amount of these in your deck, you're probably going to be okay. I made an equivalent exchange deck, which was pretty annoying, and I would avoid doing that. That being said, again, heuristic study, yes, cards like it. It's like, oh, you see this as this unfathomably expensive card that's like, oh, I have to have it or I can't win games. Not the case. You can definitely win plenty of games without heuristic study, absolutely. And on top of that, this one actually does have a weakness that, again, is a mistake that I see players making and not actually going up against the heuristic study player. Politic with your other opponents that are the opponent of that heuristic study player and pay the 1. Everyone agrees to pay the 1, then it's just a 3 mana enchantment taxing effect on everyone else, essentially. And that player that's got the heuristic study can't snowball with that advantage. And eventually one of you is going to get removal for it, so you can actually take it out. So again, there are plenty of ways to deal with it, plenty of ways to mitigate it. Plenty of cards are actually better than it in certain situations. Again, late game, I would rather draw like a mass draw spell than something like a heuristic study, which is going to plot along and get me those cards, or again, a factor fiction, which can get me those cards quicker. That being said, yeah, it's a very good card. You don't need expensive cards to win, though. There are plenty of budget-friendly cards. I'm going to prove that to you throughout this episode, that there are plenty of budget-friendly cards in different situations that can obviously help you win. Next up, let's talk about how you don't need a crazy mana base. I mean, I was just looking up, like, for a 5-color deck, because that was always the argument back in the day. You can't build a budget deck on 5 colors. And to be honest, I was worried about building my very first one when I built my Joda deck long time ago. I was very nervous about it. I was like, oh, but it's 5 colors. How do I make it all function? You can very easily make any mana base function. Any different color combination, you can make it function on the smallest of budgets. You don't need to go spend $20 for each shock land, essentially, like a breeding pool, forest island. You can tap for either of those colors. Ender's tap, you can pay 2 life if you don't. Ender's battlefield tap, so again, these shock lands, like, okay, cool, yeah. They're good. They're very good. Is it necessary to win? Absolutely not. Or how about Scalding Tarn? Any of the, like, expensive fetch lands like this. Land tap, pay 1 life, sacrifice it, go get an island or mountain on the battlefield, shove your library. Is it very good? Absolutely, it's good. Are there different ways to work around not having a card like this? Absolutely. You do not have to have these cards. You don't have to have a full suite of fetch lands, a full suite of shock lands, and a full suite of, like, the triomes, again, to actually do anything. I mean, literally, I just showed 3 cards. This is a total of over $60 for 3 cards. That in total costs more than basically any of my decks, just these 3 cards. And again, when you look up, like, okay, percentage of play in 5 color decks, these see so much play, like 20 plus, 30 plus percent. And again, they are so expensive, and you don't have to do that. Swamp Forest Island, Ender's Battlefield tap, you can cycle it away as well. There are a lot of fantastic budget options that I absolutely will tell you that you should be using for a 5-color strategy or other types of color strategies as well that work great. But overall, literally, I think the one thing that players kind of get sucked into and don't realize that, well, yeah, you need to play more basics. Basics are just inherently amazing. They are great. They're fantastic. And players, for some reason, just don't want to play basics at all. And I will tell you right now that, yeah, even my 5-color decks, especially my Joda 5-color deck, I mean, that one's got, let me just think through it, 3 of each at least of the basics, plus I believe in Force I have like 8 or so, so that's what, like 12 plus, that's like 20 of the lands in the deck are basics essentially, okay? And it functions fine, it functions great, and it is 5 color, and again, that is a deck that really needs to fix its mana properly, and you can do that as long as you plan properly, as long as you build the deck properly, and as long as you have other lands in there that can help with your strategy too. I mean, like, an Ash Barrens is fantastic, a land that can tap for a colorless, or you can basic land cycle it away. This essentially is a way to, if you need that mana and you already have your mana fixed, great, this can come into play untapped, good for you. That being said, if you need that other kind of a land, you just pay 1 mana, you get rid of this essentially, and you go get whatever basic you need. Again, play more basics, and then that land, oh, okay, cool, I can have that come into play untapped as well when I play it. Great, good for me. That being said, also, you are thinning out your deck. Yes, I mean, like, it is a small percentage. Again, we talked about how Commander is a huge format when it comes to the number of cards that are in your deck. That being said, you are thinning out your deck, and you're making it less likely to draw into lands, especially if you have a lot of these types of effects. Obviously, in green, too, if you have a green deck, Blighted Woodland's an amazing one as well. Again, you can utilize the mana right away. Pay 4, tap, sacrifice, get 2 basic lands from a battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Again, a way to not only ramp, but also fix your mana at the same time. Evolving Wilds, Timberwork, Expanse, these are seeing a lot of play for a reason, obviously. Basically, a budget-friendly fetch land for you. Yeah, it comes into play tap, but that's completely fine. That's completely okay, and of course, great in landfall as well. Escape Tunnel, just a strictly better version of that. The exact same thing, but you can also make a creature unblockable too. But one that you might not think about, actually, one that you might not know about, how about Grasslands? Enters the battlefield, tap, sacrifice it, go get a Forest or Plains card on the battlefield, then shuffle. Keep in mind, if you do have some of those, lands that do have, like, both basic land types or whatever, we'll get to some here in a little bit that are not these shock lands or triumphs, essentially. Yeah, you can go get, again, a Forest or Plains. It does not say basic with this, too, so do keep that in mind. But it's kind of like a reverse fetch land in a way when it comes to Evolving Wilds, which can get you that land right away. This one's more like, hey, okay, I'll get you the land next turn, but unlike Evolving Wilds, comes to play untapped, so you can utilize it basically the exact same time. So again, people like sleep on a card like this and just completely forget about it as well for decks that can utilize it. And there is, I believe there's in a cycle of 5, so there are other versions of this that get different kinds of lands. Crows and Verge, though, another one that people forget about as well. Enters, tap for a colorless, pay 2, tap, sacrifice, go get a Forest and a Plains, put the battlefield, tap, then shuffle again. Forest and Plains, doesn't specify what kind. Mirror Landscape can be utilized in any kind of a deck. This one goes and gets 1 basic land type, essentially, but 2 of those cards into play tapped as well. So again, ramping and fixing mana. Naya Panorama. All the panoramas are so budget friendly right now. I mean, looking at all these cards that you're seeing right now, just check out the prices on these. So much less expensive than the $20 land. You're paying like 1/100th of the price. Land enters untapped, can tap for a colorless right away. And when you need to, pay 1, tap, sacrifice, go get a Forest, Mountain, Plains, any of those basics on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Promising Vein. This one can get you any of those basic land types. Does not matter what they are. Again, this is the exact same thing as Shire Terrace, who's got these more recently than the panoramas. And again, they are letting you, again, utilize them for mana or get any of your basics. Or how about Riveteer's Overlook or the other new Capenna lands? Land enters the battlefield, sacrifice it right away. When you do, go get a basic Swamp, Mountain, or Forest, but battlefield tap, then shuffle, and you gain 1 life. Cool, an extra 1 life. Awesome, like, life gain synergies as well. Work really good with this as well. More recently, we even got, like, Tranquil Landscape. Tap for a colors, tap, sacrifice, go get a basic Plains, Forest, Island, and then you put on the battlefield, tap, shuffle, you can cycle it away. So again, it's flexible as well. Urza's Cave, even this one. Tap for a colors, pay 3, tap, sacrifice, go get any land on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. This one's a bit more expensive than my other examples that I brought up, but still, like, again, you have options, and this one can get you any land. Doesn't have to be a basic, so do keep that in mind. You have so many options. I mean, I think I just went over, what, like, 12 cards outside of basic lands? 13 cards right there when it comes to, like, hey, being able to fix your mana with your own mana base while also potentially, again, filtering out dead cards in your deck. You are slimming down your deck to make it so you're less likely to draw lands at the exact same time, too. And they're flexible cards as well. Or how about some cards that used to be expensive, like a Caves of Koilos, which is finally getting a ton of reprints over the most recent years. Wizards not just putting, like, really crappy, guild gates in every single precon. Taps for colors, taps for 1 of 2 colors, 1 damage to you. 1 damage is nothing in Commander. Again, you can tap for either that mana right away. Or how about, like, a Cinderglade? Again, has those basic land types. A Mountain Forest, enters battlefield, tapped, lets you control 2 more lands. Basic lands, I should say. It's only 19 cents. Again, play more basics. There's plenty of reasons to play more basics, and this is one of them. But yeah, being able to, again, utilize these kinds of cards, more basics. You don't need to spend so much money on your mana base. That is a huge mistake I see a lot of players doing because, yeah, I mean, I personally, I mean, again, do whatever you want to do. I would rather have, like, 10 decks that I really enjoy playing that are all budget friendly, that cost me the exact same amount as a player who just invested that same amount of money into one deck with an absurd mana base. And are they going to be any better off than I am because of that? Well, not if I build my deck properly, essentially. Again, make sure you build your, mana base so you can ramp and fix properly, so you're always there. Again, even a 5-color strategy, you are completely fine to do it. Again, my Jodo deck works very well at fixing mana. Wayfarer's Bauble, of course, great in any strategy. Pay 1, tap, 2, tap, sacrifice, go get a basic land into play, tap. Again, any color combination can utilize this. Rampant Growth, of course, obviously very good. Obviously what ramp is named after. Sorcery for 2, go get a basic into play, tap. Harrow, sacrifice 1 land, go get 2 basics into play, tap. Again, obviously, I'm not going to go through all of, the ways to fix your mana and ramp. But outside of, again, spells, outside of, again, just the lands themselves that can help you, we have so many options these days that you don't need to feel trapped and think like, oh, to win, I need to improve my mana base. I have to go get all the shock lands. I have to go get all the fetch lands. I have to go get this. I have to go get that. No, you can do everything that you want to do in a game of Commander with, well, very, very budget-friendly cards and, of course, basics. So please don't feel like you need to buy expensive lands. Next up, thinking differently. You can think differently to tackle the exact same challenge. Now, you might not be as efficient, or you might be almost exactly as efficient, actually, depending on what you're trying to do. A card like Demonic Tutor is pushed. A card like Demonic Tutor is overly efficient in what it does. Sorcery for 2 mana. Go get a basic land, or basic card. That was the last topic. Basic card right in your hand, then shuffle your library. This is a $44 card. Yeah, that's incredibly expensive. And yes, this deserves to be a game changer. It's a crazy good card, absolutely. That being said, think about what your deck is trying to do. Think about what you need a tutor for. If it's something specific, well, you know what? You've got plenty of amazing options for you, and some that might even be better in certain circumstances, like Muddle the Mixture. Only $1.31 in comparison to instant for 2 blue. Or blue, I should say. Counter target instant or sorcery spell, or you can transmute it away. Some people don't know about transmute cards. These are incredible. Basically, what you do is you pay that amount of mana, you discard it, you go get any card in your library with the same converted mana cost, put it right in your hand, then shuffle, only at sorcery speed. So basically, this can be a great counterspell for you when you need it, which Demonic Tutor really can't be at instant speed, right? I mean, it can be like a counterspell technically at sorcery speed. You're like, okay, 1 second, let me go get my counterspell. Now everyone, yep, okay, I got it. Okay, no, I just told you how to counterspell, my bad. Anyways, but this one essentially, again, can be a counterspell, or it can be basically an uncounterable tutor. Yes, a specific tutor, but again, depending on your deck, depending on what you want to go tutor for, this can go get you the exact same thing basically as Demonic Tutor. Yeah, it might cost you 1 more mana. That being said, this is uncounterable, except against, like, stifle type effects which stop abilities. But still, again, this is not counterable because you're not casting it to transmute. So do keep that in mind. Or how about Dimir Houseguard? Again, a card that can be an amazing free sacrifice outlet for all those types of strategies out there, like aristocrat style strategies, sacrifice strategies that want to sacrifice things, sacrifice a creature, regenerate it. That's huge. This also protects itself, is amazing. But also, again, transmuted away, basically uncounterable tutor effect. Speaking of which, how about Vidalcan Aethermage? A 1/2 Vidalcan wizard with flash that says when it comes into play, return a sliver to its owner's hand. Cool. Most importantly, though, wizard cycling for 3. So again, discarding it, go getting a wizard card, put in your hand, then shuffle. Again, a weird type of, tutor effect that you might not realize is a thing, but it is. Again, it's a uncounterable, hey, are you like built around like a certain wizard in your deck? Do you have like certain wizards that do certain things that you need? Are you just a wizard tribal deck? Awesome. Utilize a card like this instead of trying to buy, a $44 card. Or how about Open the Armory? Are you in an aura or an equipment deck? This is basically the exact same thing as Demonic Tutor then. Sorcery for 2 mana, go get an aura equipment, put in your hand, then shuffle. Cost the exact same amount converted mana cost wise. How about Ring Sight? This one's 1 more mana. Oh no, it's 25 cents though. Sorcery for 3 mana, the ring tempts you search life for a card that shares a color with a legendary creature you control. Reveal it in your hand, then shuffle. Chances are incredibly likely it's going to match one of the creatures in play, especially if you have your commander in play, which generally has that color identity that you are looking for, since your commander typically, again, has those colors. Or how about Trophy Mage? Again, a specific type of tutor effect, but one that is different in that it's on an ETB, so you can use and abuse it. Enters the battlefield, you may search life for an artifact card. Converted mana cost 3. Reveal up in your hand, then shuffle. So yeah, this might cost 1 mana more. It's also a 2/2 though that you can easily use and abuse in, say, a blink type strategy to keep getting you those cards with converted mana cost 3 or less that are artifacts. So again, if you're specific, cool. Micromancer, again, if you specifically have a deck built around some instant sorceries with low mana value that are awesome, great. Use and abuse this ETB. Mana value 1. Cool. Go get those instant sorceries and utilize them. Or how about Waterlogged Teachings? This takes up no space in your deck. It is a land for you. Instant for 4 mana in Dimir. Search your life for an instant card or a card with flash. Reveal it, put in your hand, then shuffle. Again, it takes up no space. The backside of it is just an MDFC. Cool, awesome, good for me. It is a land if I need it, or it is a tutor effect when I really need that. Or again, how about, let's say that you like to have something that is like a final parting. Go tutor for 2 cards. 1 goes in your hand, 1 goes in your graveyard. In certain circumstances, for certain decks out there, you actually want to get specific things in your graveyard. Maybe that's a card like Anger, which can help you by giving your creatures haste out of your graveyard. Or maybe it's a card that you can actually get back out of your graveyard, like Reassembling Skeleton, or a flashback card. Or you have your reanimation style deck. being able to essentially get 2 cards for the price of 1, this can be absolutely huge for you. Or how about instant speed with a shared summonings, essentially. Instant for 5 mana and green. Search life for the 2 creature cards with different names. Reveal them from your hand, then shuffle your library. Being able to, out of nowhere, get the exact 2 creatures that you need for that situation that you're in, or maybe even just combo win with them. That's going to be an amazing card. Yes, is Demonic Tutor kind of on its own island as like this crazy, amazing tutor when it comes to, again, what I'm saying, getting cards right in your hand kind of cards. There are obviously the other ones like, Imperial Seal or Vampiric Tutor, those kinds that are like, hey, cool, yeah, get on top of your library. Yeah, still obviously OP. There are so many incredibly expensive tutors out there, but I'm telling you, think differently. You can utilize budget tutor effects that can, well, not maybe be nearly as efficient potentially, or they could actually be as efficient, or they could just be strictly better in certain circumstances as well. Again, a demonic tutor can be countered. Transmute really can't for the most part. No one's running stifle effects, so there you go. There are different options out there. Don't feel trapped and be like, well, if I want a tutor, I've got to spend $44 on the quote-unquote best one. There's other options. Next up, speaking of other options, let's talk about power versus synergy, and we'll utilize one of the most popular commanders out there. I think Kranko's actually number 4 right now, which is pretty crazy for a monocolored commander, to actually demonstrate this. It's a 3/3 Goblin Warrior for 4 mana in red. Tap, put X 1/1 red Goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield, or X the number of goblins you control. This is a commander that is incredibly powerful and incredibly simple and straightforward. This says, hey, okay, tap, double up your goblins. Cool, good for you. So, the place that many players go, which is completely understandable, and yes, effective, is, okay, Goblin Tribal, all the best goblins, chuck them in a deck, and it's going to be good. Yeah, it's going to be good, absolutely. But here's the thing. Even though goblins isn't the most expensive kind of creature type out there, money-wise, it is still a decently expensive one with certain cards. And in my opinion, actually, there's a lot more effective ways to build Kranko that might not just be grab the most expensive goblins out there, chuck them in a deck, and just, yeah, it's going to work. And yes, it will work, but you know what? Let's just go through the expensive goblins and then talk about maybe a different approach to this that, in my opinion, is better and actually a lot cheaper, too. Legion Loyalist. Okay, do you need this little 1/1 goblin for, $4 or $5? Hasty Goblin Soldier for a single red mana. Whenever you attack with at least 2 creatures in this, creature you control gain first strike and trample swap turn, can be blocked by creature tokens. Cool. That is effective. That is great. Is this all that worth it for the deck? I mean, I'm not going to spend $5 on it. I'd rather spend $5 on like 20 plus cards that are going to do something a little bit more than this. Or how about Goblin Recruiter again? Hey, cool. An amazing Goblin Tutor. Absolutely. ETBs, go get any number of goblins, reel them, shuffle your library, put them on top. That's an incredibly effective card. It's really cool. Absolutely. Is it worth $6 potentially? I mean, depends. Again, if you want to build a deck in that way, cool. Goblin Sharpshooter, $23 for this one. Does it untap during your untap step. Whenever a creature dies, untap it. Tap for 1 damage target creature or player. Awesome. There are some certain combos where that can work well with this. Or also, take out all your opponent's tiny creatures too. It can be quite good with that. Is it worth $23? Again, I can build an entire deck around that. My Kranko deck costs less than that I've built. So there you go. Imperial Recruiter. Again, a 1/1, this isn't even a goblin, but works well in Goblin Tribal. Costs 3 mana, Human Advisor, enters the battlefield, go get a creature card with power 2 or less, reveal, put your hand, then shuffle. Plenty of great options for that, obviously, with this. I mean, nearly all your goblins. Maybe except for this one. Goblin Trashmaster. This one is nearly $7. 3/3 Goblin Warrior for 4 mana in red. Other goblins get +1/+1. Sacrifice a goblin, destroy target artifact. Yeah, it is a nice, anthem effect for your team. It's nice that you can take out artifacts. Obviously, there's other cards that take out artifacts, too, as well, that can help you. So, kind of, you have the option to split if you need to. Mogcatcher, though, how about this one? 2/2 Mercenary for 4 mana in red. Again, not even a goblin, but still sees a lot of play in expensive goblin decks. Pay 3 tap, go get a goblin into play, shuffle your library. Obviously, very impactful, yes. $10, though. How about another non-goblin? Perforos, God of the Forge, a 6/5 indestructible god that costs 4 mana. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Yeah, basically, Impact Tremors times 2. Yeah, I mean, Impact Tremors is half as, effective as it, essentially, but it's also half the price. I mean, not half the price, but half the mana value, and much less of the price. So, yeah, there are other ways to win outside of this, and just granting haste to your team can do it as well. Or how about Kiki Jiki Mirror? Sure, I mean, if you want to throw this one there, it is obviously a goblin. Hasty, tap, put a token, copy target non-legendary creature control on the battlefield, gains haste, sacrifice again, extend step, copy a really powerful goblin that is non-legendary or something else, use and abuse an ETB, or yeah, sure, you can go infinite with that too. That being said, let's talk about a different direction to go with our synergies that don't utilize, again, expensive goblins. In fact, maybe don't even utilize that many goblins at all, because here's the thing. Threaten, a very simple card, a card that is 27 cents for this, and there are plenty of other versions of Threaten that I'll be talking about right here. Sorcery with 3 mana in red, untap target creature, gain control of it until end of turn, that creature gains haste until end of turn. A card like this might throw players off with building around it, because all you really care about is just untapping your commander. I mean, the haste is nice potentially, but you just care about untapping your commander. You don't need to gain control of it. You already have control of your commander. Cool. So, hey, pay 3 mana, untap your commander. That means you double up your army again for 3 mana. That's well worth it. Again, a card like Second Harvest is super expensive in green, and this card's like, hey, do that exact same thing, basically. I mean, this copies basically all your goblin tokens and all your goblins in general, but not all your like treasure tokens, sure, like Second Harvest would, but hey, make more goblins. That's what you want to do with this deck. Wrangle an even better version of it for this commander. Sorcery for just 2 mana. Gain 12 target creature power 4 or less. Our commander's power 4 or less. Untap it against haste till end of turn. 2 mana, do that. Or about Karizeb's Expertise. Sorcery for 3 mana. Gain 12 target creature or vehicle. Untap it against haste till end of turn. You may cast a card converted mana cost 2 or less for your hand without paying its mana cost. Obviously, these are also flexible in that if an opponent has an incredibly powerful creature up there, or in this case, a vehicle, yeah, you can steal it and also just use that too. So there you go. That being said, this one especially is amazing because you're paying 3 mana to untap your commander, double up your army, and also cast something else out of your hand for free. How about Vengeful Possession? Basically, it is Threaten, plus also you can discard a card if you do draw a card. So yeah, being able to just rummage as well on top of that. Or Traitorous Greed. Gain control of a creature until end of turn. Untap gains haste. This one does cost 4, but it also gives you 2 mana back. Again, get 2 free mana. So yeah, utilize that as well. So yeah, these threatening effects are incredible with this. Or how about a repeat effect like, oh, I don't know, Hematite Talisman. Artifact for 2, pay 3, untap target permanent. Only when a red spell is successfully cast, only once for each red spell cast. Basically, whenever anyone casts a red spell, you can pay 3 mana to untap your commander. Yeah, that includes you. You've got a lot of low-to-the-ground spells that are red, obviously, and your opponents might be playing some too. So yeah, repeat untap effect, absolutely incredible. Sting the Glinting Dagger. How about this one? This one doesn't see nearly enough play in Kranko decks. At the beginning of each combat, untap equipped creature. That means with every single trip around the table, you are tapping Kranko 4 times, which is absurd. The amount of goblins you can make is insane. So yeah, basically doubling up your army every single turn. This card is so much more valuable than basically all the other goblins I already mentioned that are so much more expensive than it, but it doesn't see nearly enough play because players are like, well, it's not a goblin card. Yes, it is for Kranko. Sword of the Parents, how about this one as well? Again, it just has pay 3. You may tap or untap equip creature. So yeah, just pay 3. Keep untapping Kranko. Tap Kranko again, pay another 3. Untap it, double up your army again. On top of that, if your Kranko is tapped, it pumps your creatures +2/+0. Or untap, +0/+2. But yeah, it can also help in combat as well. And of course, yes, you still want to use goblins in the deck, but utilize the ones that really matter. And of course, the budget-friendly ones for you too. This 17-cent Gem Skirk Prospector is amazing. Sacrifice a goblin, add red. Again, with these threaten type effects, with these untap type effects, I mean, you can even go infinite again with something like Sword of the Parents, but yeah, just being able to just say, okay, I play a threaten effect. Okay, I untap my commander. All right, I just made 20 goblins. Let's pay 3, by sacrificing 3 of those goblins, cast another threaten type effect, do it again. There are so many different ways, again, when it comes to building your own commanders that, yes, some players just go all power type cards. Okay, I just need to look up, like, the best cards in this color combination and utilize those cards. Or again, okay, this is a goblin deck, utilize all the best goblins. There's nothing wrong with that at all, but think differently. Go in a different direction. Think about the synergies of the commander and how you can use and abuse those and make the most out of those. And many players just ignore threat and effect cards with Kranko. They just ignore them completely, and you should not be. So again, just a specific example for a very popular commander, but yeah, think about, again, the debate between power and synergy. Power typically has, again, all those expensive cards. Think about these synergies, though. Think about how to make up for that lack of power potentially with those less expensive cards and utilize those synergies to the max. And finally, you do not have to have an expensive, like super popular commander to win, because even a cheap, underused commander can most definitely win and just strike fear into the hearts of your opponents eventually after they played against your deck a couple of times, like, oh gosh, oh yeah. Mr. Orpheus the Boulder has become that for me. A 2/4 Rhino Warrior for 4 mana in Jund. Whenever you attack, double target creature's power until end of turn. This is a 5-cent commander. This card itself is 5 cents. Again, there are so many commanders out there that are like, oh yeah, 50 plus bucks just to play with the commander, essentially, just to have that commander, not even including the deck around it. I would much rather build around a very budget-friendly commander. It already starts me off at a small budget again just by being a least expensive commander, essentially. Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously there's other great ones out there, like, you know, like, okay, Urza, cool. Here's the thing with Urza, though. First of all, again, your deck is already at least $15 to start just with the commander, plus all the other cards in it. But on top of that, by having a commander that is, again, a super OP commander like Urza is, you are immediately a target at the table before the game even starts. You pull out your deck, you show your commander, your opponent's like, oh gosh, okay, let's target that one. Mr. Orfeo, though, does not get that same kind of hate. Mr. Orfeo is one that can go under the radar. Pick an under-the-radar commander that can actually perform incredibly well, and that, again, is incredibly budget-friendly, just 5 cents. I mean, a card like, you know, Mildred's Elemental, which sees absolutely no play, can become the scariest card on the table with a Mr. Orfeo deck. And I've seen this so many times with this card. I love it. Star 3, Elemental for 3 mana in Rule, Trample, power is equal to the number of non-basic lands your opponents control. Again, super simple, super effective. It's just, okay, I play it, and later in the game especially, all right, this just automatically has 10 power, and I literally just played it for 3 mana, and when it attacks again, I can double its power thanks to Mr. Orfeo, so it's swinging for 20. Yeah, amazing. And it's got trample, and of course I've got other ways to utilize it. We'll talk about those here in a little bit to get that damage through. Or how about Realm Seekers? It's a 16-cent card. 0/0 Elf Scout for 6 mana, enters with X counters on it, exceeds the total number of cards in all players' hands. And sure, you can remove some counters from it to actually get lands from your library in your hand. That's nice. That being said, literally just play this and you're like, oh, okay, average number of cards in a hand, let's say 5 at this point. Okay, cool. This comes to play with 20 counters on it. Okay, swings with my commander that doubles, that's 40 power. Yeah, again, you can literally turn a card like this into just a one-shot KO with this commander. Bulk Up can do that even as well. Instant speed for 2 mana, double target creature's power until end of turn. You can flash it back as well. But yeah, being able to utilize this 50-cent card to say, oh, okay, basically double up the effectiveness of my commander's effect and say, you know what, okay, it was at 20, now it's at 40, now it's at 80 power. Yeah, I can take basically anything out. Essence Harvest, a card like this, I mean, the say Fling deck is kind of how I utilize it, but a card like this doesn't even require the Fling. Sorcery for 3 mana in black. Target player loses X life. You gain X life for X Grace power by creatures you control. Again, you get that power up to an absurd amount, even just like 20. You're like, okay, you lose 20 life for this 34-cent card, and I gain 20 life as well. Gravitic Punch, 12-cent card. Multiple ways to take out opponents. Deals damage, equal to its power target player. You can also jumpstart it to play it again back out of your graveyard. So yeah, take out multiple opponents potentially with this. Or how about just Return of the Wild Speaker? We talked about how, again, Rhystic Study can draw you so many cards, right? But like, how about Return of the Wild Speaker? With this kind of a deck, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, my commander pumped my creature, it doubled up the power, and all of a sudden, instant speed for 5 mana. I draw cards equal to Grace power among non-human creatures I control, which is, let me just calculate that really quick, 40. I just drew 40 cards for 5 mana, instant speed. Again, you don't need to have an overly expensive commander, that, especially with those that are actually going to make you a target as well, ones that just players know about. There's a reason why certain commanders are expensive, because like they're super powerful, they're overpowered, and they're going to make you a target right away. Pick one that is incredibly budget friendly itself, so it doesn't make your budget just explode before you even build the deck around it. And then also one that can go underneath the radar too, can do some pretty incredible things. Again, Mr. Orfeo the Boulder, my play group knows, like, okay, that actually is a threat. But if I play just with a random group, they're like, oh yeah, whatever, Mr. Orfeo, fun. And then all of a sudden, I randomly take a player out and just like, oh yeah, okay, cool, 40 power damage to your face. All right, next player, who wants to get taken out? Here we go. So yeah, again, make sure you are considering the commander when it comes to your budget as well. So again, to wrap things up, of course, there are impossibly priced staples that are so expensive. You don't have to have them to win. There are other things that do, I mean, again, the same function of card draw, not the exact same efficiency potentially, but again, in certain circumstances can be even better. And of course, hey, if an opponent's going to be getting such an advantage off of this card, well, first of all, the Rhystic Study in particular, make sure you're politicking with the other opponents, make sure you're all paying the 1. And yeah, remove it. Make sure you're playing enough removal in your deck too. Ways to prevent this, ways to stop it as well. How about you don't need a crazy mana base? You definitely do not need to spend $20 a land on these types of cards. Yes, is Breeding Pool good? Absolutely. I'm not trying to say it's not good. I'm just trying to say that even in a 5-color deck with the most restrictive, again, you need to have like these specific kinds of colors in play, like a Joe deck. Okay, I need to make sure I get all of my colors in play. You can do so quite efficiently, quite quickly, by utilizing the right mana base. Again, enough basics. Make sure you're running enough basics. But also, of course, make sure you're running, again, those budget-friendly ways to fetch lands, budget-friendly ways to ramp. Make sure you're utilizing enough ramp and fixing in your deck to make it work effectively. You don't have to have that crazy mana base then. Or make sure that you can think differently. Again, find something that has the exact same function, but for your specific deck, or might even work better. Again, Demonic Tutor is an amazing card. It's not replicated really anywhere. There's not any other, like, okay, 2 mana, go tutor up anything kind of a card out there. There's a reason why this is a game changer. That being said, hey, there's other ways out there. Like, again, I talked about Open the Army. Are you playing a equipment or aura deck? Cool. It does the exact same thing for the exact same amount of mana. Are you playing a deck that has a specific thing you want to tutor for that maybe costs 2 mana? Okay, Muddle the Mixture. It's also a counterspell if you need it, though, instead. Or Dimir Houseguard for an Aristocrat-style deck. Again, and it can't be countered except for a Stifle effect. So, again, think differently. Or how about, again, power versus synergy, utilizing Krenko as an example. Yes, again, Krenko is an amazing Goblin Tribal Commander. Does that mean that you just absolutely have to go get all the most expensive goblins and best goblins out there and chuck them in a deck to make it work properly? No. In fact, I would argue that, again, a more powerful version of Krenko is just lean into Krenko's ability. Lean into that synergy. Just say, you know what, instead, I'm just going to be like, oh, okay, how do I untap Krenko? As many times as I want to. Again, like a card like Sting is just so underutilizing Krenko, I don't understand. And it's just because it's not like a goblin card. If there's a picture of a goblin on it, it might see more play with Krenko. But literally, it's like, okay, hey, do you want to double up your army every single turn with each trip on the table, including on your opponent's turns? Yes, I do. Utilize that card. Utilize other cards that can untap this. Utilize threaten effects. Lean heavily into that ability and make it so that Krenko can give you an absurd amount of goblins. And of course, finally, again, even a cheap, underused commander can win and can be an amazing commander that can take players out of nowhere like a Mr. Orfeo the Boulder. You don't have to have an incredibly expensive, overpowered commander to win the game. In fact, sometimes that can be a detriment to you. You can build around, again, say an Urza, and before the game even starts, you are target number 1. You are the arch enemy, and the game hasn't even started. Pick one that's going to go under the radar and can surprise players like something like this, and one that, again, costs 5 cents instead of $15 so your budget isn't blown already before you even start building around the card. You can build an amazing deck on a budget, on the smallest of budgets in Commander. That's one of the amazing things about the format. Again, it's a singleton format. There's so much chance to it, essentially, and you can do some amazing things, again, even on the smallest of budgets, and I want to make sure that you believe that as well. So yeah, make sure you go about building your decks with thought, with synergy, and with budget cards. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it, and of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.